All right, you are listening to the R&R Sports Report right here on KLCZ 88.9 FM. Make sure to check us out on the R&R Sports Report's Facebook page and YouTube channel, and hit the likes and subscribes and comment and give us all that fun stuff. But right now, we're going to have some fun. We have a special guest in the building. It's somebody that I grew up with and haven't talked to in a long time, and we've been following him and the guy that he follows around on the golf course every single week. We got Geno Bonnalie in the building.
Hello, hello.
There, let me turn your mic on. There you go.
Check, check. There we go.
So Geno, thank you so much for coming in, and I know you're busy all the time.
Not for the next few
time.
weeks. So you caught me at a good time. We're off here for a little while. So
how has the year been with all of the craziness with COVID? Has it felt different out there? Or?
it definitely has. In fact, I didn't realize how much I missed having fans out there until just this last week. We were down in Mexico, and there weren't a lot of fans, but there was probably a few hundred just spread around the golf course. And having them out felt really nice. Hearing an applause once in a while. Sometimes, you might hit a ball up on a green and not know exactly where it's at, and having some feedback from the gallery, it's really nice. So looking forward to when things can go back to normal and I don't have to have a swab shoved up my nose multiple times a week.
It was something that I haven't thought about as just a golf fan of obviously you guys getting, like you said, the reaction of the crowd, of whether the shot was good or not. I watched that celebrity match with Charles Barkley and Phil Mickelson, and just their reaction every time they hit the ball, and them going, was that good? Where's it at?
Exactly.
Or they're, oh, that's a great shot, and it's out in the bushes somewhere, or hit off a rock.
Yeah,
you don't even know. But with the crowd, it's something.
Yeah. So right now, really, all that's out there is significant others, and there might be a random coach walking around here or there. So if a significant other claps, it's probably pretty good. So that's what we're always hoping for.
So I've been curious, because obviously you've been able to travel all over the place as you go to a different location every single week. Where has been your favorite place to travel? Not just golf course, just
good questions.
It was on the schedule and you went, oh, I can't wait to go.
I really enjoy the small places we get to go to. The Greenbrier in Lewisburg, West Virginia. They actually just, I'm guessing COVID had something to do with it, but they took it off the schedule going forward. That was one of my favorite places just because it felt like a PGA Tour event in Orfino, Idaho. It was just a small town, like mom and pop's stuff going on. It's out in the hills. I really enjoyed that. As far as fun stuff, Halifax, Nova Scotia was one of my favorites. We played there, I think maybe my first year caddying, and flew up there. It was expensive, I remember that, but it was beautiful. And I don't even think the results were anything special that week, but it was a place I really enjoyed.
So with the PGA and stuff, you're covering all of those costs, right? It's
Correct.
Not anything that's in a contract or anything.
That's all on me.
You have to show up and
price line everything, and sleeping in dirty, cheap motel rooms. I'm a pretty cheap guy by nature, so I try to save every penny I can.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing we were talking about, and we shared the video the other day, and I asked Randy, I said, how many times do you tell Joel something or make a suggestion, and he just kind of blows you off and does something?
I might. It's funny because I don't know how much he actually physically listens to me. I might be speaking and he could be thinking about something else, and we do this multiple times around because Joel doesn't pack a yardage book, so I do all the numbers. And the way it works, I generally give him the number to the front of the green and then the hole, and anything's, if we're trying to hit it over a bunker or over a ridge, I'll give him any important information about the green depth and things like that. So I might say 175 to the top of the ridge. We got 182 hole, and then it'll be our turn to hit, and he'll just be kind of standing there looking around. And how far do we have? We got 175, 182. Oh. What do you think I should hit? Where's the wind? So we have a really good relationship. He does listen to me for the most part, pretty often, but we're in agreement with everything. So that makes it nice. It's rare that we're too far apart on a decision, but it does happen. In fact, just recently, I don't even know the story, but he's like, this is a 6-iron, right? I'm like, this is an 8-iron. He's like, oh, let's compromise. Let's hit 7 then, I guess. But things like that happen.
Well, and we just shared that video, and I think it came from, I think your Twitter page, wasn't it? The video where I saw him. He was monkeying around with his handles for
His
putting
grip. Yeah, that was funny because he was putting fine, but just randomly he was standing there talking to one of his buddies on the putting green, and he separated his hands, about 4 to 6 inches apart between them, and he just kind of started putting like Happy Gilmore and making everything. And he looks at me and he goes, and I just shook my head. I'm like, no. He goes, I have to do this. He goes, I make everything. Watch. And then I was rolling 20 footers in. And he goes, I can't miss. I was like, you cannot putt like that. So the day went on, and he actually played okay, hit it nice, and was putting fine, and they just weren't going in really. It looked like he was hitting putts, and he was getting frustrated. And on the 17th hole of the day, he hit it in there to about 8 feet. And I wasn't really paying attention. I was kind of looking down at my yardage book, and I looked up right as he's taking us back, and his hands are about 6 inches apart. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he made it. And he looked at me, and we both started laughing. And then we go to the 18th hole, and he hit it in there again about 10, 12 feet. And I knew he was going to do it again. Sure enough, separated the hands and rolled it in for another birdie, finished birdie. And then the next day, he was like, what do I do now? I honestly don't know. Whatever makes the ball go in.
Yeah.
So first hole of the day, he did it and stuck with it all day.
Hey, Robert and I are big bowlers, and we can attest that sometimes you just change the dumbest thing that shouldn't work, and for whatever reason, it just makes things feel
just
better.
Clicks.
And absolutely. So we do have a question from the audience here. Tony Barden wants me to ask you: is your mouth still on fire from the one chip?
That thing was hot, but it's not something I want to ever do again. And
then you played a whole hole.
Yeah, so that the 17th at TPC Sawgrass is kind of an island green. So each year they have a caddy closest to the pin contest. And unfortunately, I had to eat that chip before I hit my official caddy shot. And thankfully, it didn't quite kick in all the way by the time I hit it. But shortly after, I thought I needed medical attention. It was rough.
Yeah, I've seen that video and you talking about back when you broke both arms. I'm like, man, I remember that.
Yeah.
It was like 7th grade or something.
It was 7th grade, yeah. One of the first couple of weeks of 7th grade, walking around with 2 casts on. Poor guy.
So you were talking about how you're kind of a cheap guy, and that worked out against your favor one time for the U.S. Open.
Yeah, that kind of speaks to my cheapness, I guess.
In a way, it turned out great because it might be your most popular video you've made, which I see it all the time. PGA will come out with different highlight videos. You and Joel are just hilarious, so you end up on there every week.
I guess we're just stupid enough to make their content on a weekly basis. But yeah, that. So it worked out where I landed in New Jersey, and I had an Airbnb reserved for the week, and the gal canceled on me like as I'm still on the airplane. I took my phone off airplane mode, and my notifications come through and said, "Sorry, so and so has canceled the reservation." Oh no, she hasn't. I already had the address and knew where I was going and whatnot, and so I called her. She didn't answer. I was like, I'm just gonna drive out there anyways. So I shot her a message. I'm like, sorry, I really need this place to stay, blah, blah, blah. I head out there, and I'm almost there, and she calls me back, and she's like, the place isn't ready for you. Please give me 24 hours, and I'll refund you. I'll pay for a hotel, whatever it costs, or whatever it takes. I said, okay, well, I appreciate the offer. Don't worry about it. I'll get my own hotel for the night. And while we were talking on the phone, I didn't know where I was going, so I had pulled over to the side of the road when we were on the phone. So before I started driving again, I just Googled hotels near me, and there was one literally 500 yards. And I called them, and they're like, oh yeah, $100, come on. Perfect. And I've stayed in some gross places before, but that one, as you saw from the video, that takes the cake. And
fantastic.
It turned out to be a pretty popular video.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I watched it when you had posted it and just had a great kick out of it. It did seem to make you really popular. I actually watched a clip of you on the DA show. I used to listen to that all the time before that station was taken off of here. Was that your best interview from all of that, or have you had better ones than that?
Let's see. That's probably Freddie Coleman show. I did the same day. Freddie
Okay.
Coleman and DA. Yeah, probably those two, I would say.
Has that been just the most wildest experience in this PGA stuff?
Well,
obviously, you obviously running into all these famous golfers that you grew up watching and stuff. What's been the most surreal moment for you?
Playing with Tiger Woods for sure.
That would do it.
That's a pretty good one right there. Yeah, that was that second or third year on tour, and we get the text message with the tee time notifications, after plays concluded for the day, and it said Joel Damon and Tiger Woods tee off at whatever time, and I got a little excited for that one. It was a really cool experience. So that's definitely the top of the list. But yeah, getting to be around these guys on a day in and day out basis, guys that I've really idolized since I was little, is pretty cool.
I've seen a few videos of you guys, like he said, having a great time out there and enjoying, not during golf time, but outside of it, the roller coaster rides. Tell me, what kind of things do you do on a normal basis, after you get the practice rounds in and all that? What do you guys like to do, a way to get your mind off the golf game for a little bit?
That's a good question. I travel with my golf clubs. Most caddies don't, but I'm kind of a golf dork. I'm obsessed. I try to play when I am on the road. The tournament days, it's a little more difficult because those are long days. But typically, how it works is Monday's a travel day. So wherever we are and wherever we're going, we just dedicate that day to getting there. And I don't usually do a whole lot outside that because they're usually pretty long days. Tuesday, we play 9 holes around 10 a.m. Get about hour and a half of practice in front of that. And then, we're done at the course maybe 1:30. And that would be the day that I might sneak out and play a little golf on my own. And there's a few other caddies that travel, and we get, go out and play for $20 or whatever it may be. And then Wednesday we play a pro-am generally. And then the times for those are really vary. A lot of times we're in the afternoons on those, so it kind of eats up your day. And then go time on on Thursday. And like I said, those are long days. I'm usually at the course a couple hours before we tee off for our tee time, and they're long rounds, but.
All right, so I have another viewer question.
Shoot.
From your wife.
Oh, boy.
Who wants me to ask you your income the first 2 years.
Thankfully, she is an awesome budgeter because I don't know how we made it. I think for my tax filing purposes, I made $23 my first year of caddying, and people are always like, well, what do you do for a job? I'm a caddy. That's what I did for a job. I made $23, almost $2 a month. It's great income. And I might have got it up to a couple $100 in year 2. So it's been a little better since then. But those
I need
first
to
2
talk
years,
to your wife if she can budget $23.
yeah, well,
for a year.
thankfully she's a hard worker, and like I said, that's how I became so cheap, staying in those shady motel rooms. And we've had, I've put 4 guys in rooms like that before when we're on the web.com tour, and just trying to get by with as little as we can spending.
So I want to bring up, before we end this, something that I knew was really cool a long time ago when you first did it. That was when you did the fundraiser. It was 2011 and ended up setting the world record for most holes played in a week and set the birdie record for all that too. Correct. My favorite was when I was trying to get all the numbers and stuff for this, and you go to the Guinness Book of World Records page. The comments are funny.
Oh, I haven't actually read the comments.
There's only a couple on there, but 2 of them are like, there's 0 chance that this is even possible. And you have defenders on there, which is
oh,
good.
That's awesome. But yeah, I might have to.
There's 2 guys on there going, it's just like 5 holes a minute or whatever it ended up, whatever numbers they put out. But so how was that week for you?
That was probably the hardest thing I'd ever done. The first day I played 18 rounds of golf, which is 324 holes. Started at 4:22 in the morning and played till dark, and I was tired. And I was kind of excited getting going, so I didn't sleep much the night before, and I slept well that first night. But my alarm went off at like 3:30 on Tuesday morning for day 2, and my forearms were just throbbing. They were so sore, and the pad of my left thumb was like gone already. I hadn't protected my hands nearly well enough. So I was like, there's no way I can play golf today. And my wife said, just get out of bed, go take a shower, try to stretch. You got to try. I'm like, okay, so I got in the shower, did it, and it was that way pretty much every morning. But the first round was always the worst. And after that, the ibuprofen kind of kicked in a little bit of adrenaline maybe, and I just kept playing. And I quit on Sunday evening at about 7 p.m., which I regret now because I, in fact, got an email or a Facebook message from a gentleman in Australia last week. And he said, hey, Geno, I just want to let you know that I'm going to try to break your world record next year. Do you have any tips for me? I'm like, I got a tip for you.
Don't do it.
Get out of here. So it'll be interesting to see somebody try, though, because I've had it for a while. And I've had it so long, I feel like it's mine and I kind of own it. So if he does, in fact, beat it, I don't know, I might give her another go.
That's what I was going to ask you. If it would ever go down, or if you feel like me and God, I'm too old for this.
Well, I definitely feel that way. In fact, this week I got home from Mexico and I went to open the door handle at home and my back went out, and then I was crawling around on the floor for 2 days. I couldn't even stand. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so old. And then I was actually thinking about this world record thing. My back goes out during that. I'm in trouble.
So how did all that work? Were you taking full swings, or was
Yep. No, I was playing just normal golf just as quick as I could. And there were still people on the golf course. It was open to the membership. So I was basically just hitting it over everyone's heads. And they knew what was going on for the most part.
Did you have a faster cart at that point?
Nope.
Or?
So Guinness has a really strict set of rules that you have to abide by. And there couldn't be any golf cart modifications is the wording there. So I just used a standard rental cart. But I think, going forward, if I were to ever do it again, I can get just a standard, faster golf cart, which gas is key because you can't be switching golf carts out, waiting for them to charge and whatnot on the electric. But so a fast gas cart that's naturally fast.
So just a couple of stats there. You raised about $15,000, according to what I saw on there. 493 birdies shot that week, which is also a world record.
Yeah.
That is 480 some more birdies than I've shot in my life.
I was going to say the same thing.
Including a birdie on the last hole, which I'm sure you were very happy that it was just there.
Yep. Well, so I didn't know exactly how many holes I was going to finish on. Both my knees were really hurting the last day. I was just spent. It was hot. When I beat the existing world record, which was 1,850 holes, I played on my 1,851st hole. Somebody popped champagne and sprayed me with champagne.
Oh,
I'm like, so now I'm all sticky and disgusting. I'm like, I've got to be out here for the next 12 hours still, or whatever it was, playing golf. And I just didn't want to be there anymore. So I made the decision after the 111th round that I was only going to play 2 more holes and make it an even 2,000. And I happened to birdie hole number 2, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. That's perfect. I was happy and content at the time. And then the next day, I'm like, I still had 2 hours of daylight. Why did I quit? So hopefully I played fast enough where Mr. Australia can't quite get there. So we'll see.
Check that out. We got one more question here real quick.
Okay.
From Susan Jacobson, who wants me to ask you your best Airbnb story. And she says it has something to do with about a rat.
Oh, yeah. This was in L.A. So in L.A., another very expensive place to stay. I was looking at the hotel rooms. I'm like, I'm not paying $180 a night. So I got an Airbnb. It was had these micro tents or micro campers. It was kind of a little compound. And I didn't realize what I was getting myself into, I guess. But I got there late at night. I walked into this house, and the house was more of a common area than it was a living space. And there was a couple random people just sitting around. Nobody acknowledged me. I'm like, okay, hi. And then so I pull my phone out again, trying to figure out where I'm going to go. It says, go out into the backyard, and your area is at the third camper on the left. Well, I went to the third camper on the right and opened the door, and it's like 11:30 at night. Some guy yelled at me. I'm like, oh, sorry, man. So I closed, and I finally get in there. It was the grossest little 6 foot by 3 foot space you can imagine, and there was no heat in there. It was surprisingly freezing cold, but I made it work. It was cheap, like $22 a night. I'm like, I can handle this for the week. Next day, we finished at the golf course. I get back to the common area, and I'm sitting there, and Joel had me buy him an iPad. He wanted to put some some video program for filming his swing on it. So I'm sitting in this common area, hooked up to the Wi-Fi, nobody else around. It's very quiet in there, and I'm kind of playing with the iPad, and I catch something out of the corner of my eye. I look, and Master Splinter comes out from underneath the oven. He was huge, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I didn't do anything. I was like, okay, is this real? And he walks back underneath the oven, and then he comes out again. He's just chilling in the middle of the kitchen. I was like, I got to get the heck out of here. So I waited for him to go back under the oven, and the backyard, I had to walk right past there. So I sprinted through the kitchen. I went and packed my stuff, and they gave me my $140 refund coming to me. But then I ended up having to spend some more money. But that's what you get for being cheap, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy. So. One question for you.
Shoot.
And I'm trying to pre-schedule this. Maybe we'll get in, but do you bowl?
I really like to bowl. I throw a straight ball hard.
So if we can
get recruit, I'm thinking,
Randy and I have been playing in this same golf tournament, and we do it. It's a golf bowling tournament. We haven't really had a huge golfer since we've had Ross Button. I don't know if you know Ross. Ross played a few times with us, and we did really.
How are Ross's bowling skills?
I think he was like 140, 150. So every time he struck, we took his score. So
that backfired because someone couldn't strike.
That year was a little rough.
Yeah,
but we've been working on.
I had Geno talk.
Your slice and your hook and all that.
There's technology that's helped with that. I had Geno hooked on 1 year. He was going to do it, and then he had another golf tournament. So
yeah, I know. That would be a lot of fun. I'm in for that.
You have to tell Joel no PGA.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, sir.
Ryan Neerum, if you're listening, I need the date.
Hey,
Ryan Neerum.
Hey, you stop that.
Are we getting cut off?
No.
Things went weird.
So Ryan Neerum, if you're listening, I need the date already for August when we're playing the golf and bowling tournament to get him signed up.
Okay, I've got my schedule through the end of the year, so just let me know, and hopefully it works.
Now you're getting ready to go and play in Hawaii in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we go.
Taking a wife with you and all that.
No, just because the COVID thing, they're not. Caddy wives aren't really allowed to do anything, and Hawaii especially is super strict with their COVID regulations. So I'm flying solo. Over there, and I leave January 11th, I believe. And Joel always has played pretty well over at that tournament, so hopefully it's another good one.
Well, I want to thank you very much for coming in and chatting. Obviously, telling your stories. I still got Susan's telling me to ask more stories, so you're gonna have to come back.
Yeah, anytime. Appreciate you having me, and hopefully we get the chance to BS a little bit more because, like you said, I haven't talked to you.
It's been a few years, and I was joking around with somebody the other day when we were setting this up. It was like starting to think back on my life. I had you around for most of my childhood. I worked with Ross Button for years, and I still can't hit a golf ball. So there's something really wrong with me. And
you give me some bowling lessons, and I'll reciprocate on the golf course.
But really appreciate you, and it was good to see you again. And hope you have a great holidays and a nice little break.
Yeah, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.